A good sample size mostly depends on the research goals and objectives. Margin of error is going to be number 2. So how comfortable are you with the accuracy of the data to the extent that you may see a margin of error? For instance, it could be plus or minus 3%. Population proportion is the third factor that you need to account for when trying to figure out your sample size. Essentially, it's just an estimate of how prevalent a certain characteristic is within a population. So if you're trying to survey people who have thoughts about a particular brand or product, you want to know what sort of people already maybe know about that particular brand. So that hopefully that helps explain that a little. I'm going to go over 1 and 2 one more time just so you see how this works. So confidence interval. Let's say I ran my study 100 times. I'm confident that 95% of the time, or 95 times, if I ran it 100, I would get similar results falling within a certain range. And that range would fall within my my margin of error, which would be plus or minus 3%. So I hope that helps a little bit. Anyways, take a look at the mathematical formula for how to determine a sample size, and feel free to reach out to me if you have specific questions. Again, a lot of times sample size comes down to your specific goals, your objectives as it relates to your study. Sample size is important, and you certainly want to get a good representative sample of the population of interest. That being said, just because you have a large sample size doesn't mean your data is always accurate. You see this in political polls all the time. A lot of the times they're using, or the pollsters are using panels, and maybe that panel's leaning heavy Democrat or Republican, and therefore they're getting some skewed results back, even though it might be an impressive sample size of, say, more than 1,200 people. So just because you have a large sample size doesn't necessarily mean the data is still going to be that great. And at the end of the day, if it's not truly random, which is what you need, especially within random within the population of interest, you're still not going to get some really valid results.